Bienvenue à tous. Welcome to Reporters here on France 24. I'm Mark Owen. In this edition, the real story behind Russia's influence in eastern Ukraine. Our team has been deep into the parts of the Donbass region held by the separatists to see and hear how Moscow is effectively bankrolling the whole revolution, from the fighters' arms to the materials used to rebuild homes. Everything has a Made in Russia stamp. Officially, there is no Russian involvement in Donbass and the uprising, and the calls to pull away from Kiev come from the people. But the real story is different, and as our team found, there are those insiders who are ready to twist the truth to fit their own narrative. Our report is from Elena Voloshin.
A group of fighters from the self-proclaimed Donetsk People's Republic, or DPR, patrol the front line at dawn.
Видите, это снайпера бьют.
Here, despite the ceasefire, there are battles almost every night. And as always, the DPR side blames the Ukrainians.
Работали минометы, работали РПГ, пулеметы, стрелковая, работала САУ. Все тяжело работало. У нас всего достаточно, да, и боеприпасов, и вооружения, чтобы достойно отразить все попытки проникновения на нашу территорию.
And is that thanks to Russian help?
А кто? Кто должен помогать?
Нет, нам не помогает.
Каждый раз после очередной атаки украинских вооруженных сил у нас боеприпасов и вооружения добавляется до роты.
Трофеи.
Трофеи.
У нас очень много трофеев.
Yet these men can't explain how exactly they pick up the Ukrainians' weapons, since this is mainly an artillery war. Direct contact between the sides is rare. But since Russia denies providing any military support to the separatists, they stick to the official line. And to help push that line, the DPR has its very own news agency, Doni, whose reporters are apparently not afraid to resort to a bit of fakery from time to time. We overheard this conversation between a Doni journalist and a DPR commander.
Что сделаем так?
Ну, такое, что типа украинская сторона нарушает перемирие.
Да, я их одену в украинскую форму, там никто не понимает, трофеев много.
Ну все, в общем, я как бы начальство сказал, они как бы там думают, как это.
Despite the elaborate communications effort, there is much that can't be hidden. All over Donetsk, you see these Russian-produced Ural trucks with Russian army number plates. There are also numerous armoured personnel carriers. The DPR has organised its ragtag forces into an army of sorts. It's 50,000 strong, according to the separatist authorities. And all are equipped, trained and paid. When the war started, these men joined a volunteer battalion called Vostok. Since it was disbanded and integrated into the main DPR military, they've been getting paid the equivalent of €270 a month. That's 4 times more than the average civilian earns in Donetsk.
В 2014 году я не знал, что будет дальше. Мы считали, что мы все умрем за свое дело. Сейчас уже есть какая-то надежда, что мы уже не одни. Нас уже начинает кто-то поддерживать. Мы организовались в армию. У нас есть техника. Ну, я имею в виду Уралы, машины, там вот это вот. Какая-то легкая бронетехника есть. Оружие нам поставляется уже нормально. Не то, что подобрали у кого-то с охотничьими ружьями, бегали раньше. И с дубинами. Вот в этом польза всей структуризации. То есть мы становимся государством.
According to various sources, this military restructuring started in late 2014. But on whose initiative? In Donetsk, no one talks openly about Russia's role. We managed to persuade one fighter to explain it to us, but only under conditions of strict anonymity.
Стало понятно, что так как есть, это невозможно. Не могут воевать эффективно там порядка 20 разных подразделений. Это же народный бунт, это народ не армия. Армию надо строить, армию надо дисциплинировать, надо создавать. Самое верховное командование, которое решает эти процессы, оно русское. Его столько, сколько нужно, я знаю, там это исчисляется десятками или сотнями человек, это много не надо. Они везде и нигде. Стандартная практика. Все знают, все молчат.
And apparently, Russian help extends well beyond military matters.
Прямо по курсу метро и аэропорт.
А закопали уже, все проложили полностью водопровод.
Так, что у нас, какой номер дома?
Нам надо 65. Ой, простите, Александр Иванович. Здравствуйте.
Здравствуйте.
Ну что, заводите нас, показывайте.
2 or 3 times a week, members of this commission visit war-damaged areas. Their task is to draw up precise lists of the materials that people need to rebuild their homes.
Ну давайте, замеряйте, пожалуйста, окошки, все окна запишем, все двери запишем, а потом уже начнем наружные стены, кровлю, перекрытие.
It takes the industrious team of experts around 20 minutes to assess the damage to this house, ravaged by a shell that landed in the garden 2 years ago. They then report to the owner and say they will provide everything he needs to fix it up.
Вот у вас в доме мы вам посчитали полностью все новые радиаторы, полностью все новые трубы на отопление. 100% перекрытия, 100% крышу вам новую, все новые межкомнатные двери, 3 входные двери, все новые окна. Оштукатуривание полностью всех ваших стен, потолки у вас будут новые, дерево.
They've promised to repair some 3,700 houses. But how can the DPR afford all this? At this school, reconstruction work is in full swing. Denis Murinets, who runs the biggest construction firm in Donetsk, has just taken delivery of a shipment of brand new windows from Russia.
Данный материал везется в полном объеме и в очень масштабном объеме с Российской Федерации. Это не фурами даже, а целый железнодорожный состав едет. Если, например, это идет как сыпучий материал, то это их привозят, их везут машинами, автомобилями. То есть везут не по 1-2 тонны, а 100 тонн, 200 тонн, 300 тонн, то есть огромными масштабами. Нельзя прям привязаться к определенным цифрам. Поэтому Россия постоянно довозит и увеличивает фонд поставки материала.
But who is paying for this massive reconstruction program? According to the DPR's construction ministry, the paperwork is all centralized at a Donetsk-based company called Trest Donbass Stroy. It sends orders to Russia and then receives and distributes the cargoes. But its director refused our requests for an interview. So we went to Denis Murinets' office and asked him about the funding. He reacted awkwardly.
Я понимаю, что да, можно с нами об этом переговорить, но я не думаю, что это надо той стороне, которая это все финансирует. Есть восстановление, мы восстанавливаем. Есть волонтеры, которые ее оплачивают. Это восстановление все.
Money is a taboo topic in the DPR. In late 2014, the separatist authorities created what they call the Central Republican Bank. It now has the territory's only working cash machines. But since Russia has stopped short of officially recognizing the breakaway state as independent, it can't transfer money to Russian banks. That's a big headache for the many companies seeking to pay for imports from Russia. So, an elaborate scheme has been worked out, enlisting the help of another separatist state, one Moscow has recognized, South Ossetia. Money is transferred from Donetsk to the breakaway Georgian territory and then on from there to Russia. That system is official and in Russia's eyes legal, but it's bureaucratically complicated. There is a much simpler way, as the boss of one of the biggest markets in Donetsk, Viktor Stepanov, explains.
Чтобы люди не возили деньги, как говорится, в сумках, то сделана нормальная банковская система. У нас есть общество НКО, Национальное кредитное общество. Мы на него уложим деньги, там получаем в России. Российская компания, с кем ты работаешь, она должна открыть в этом НКО счет. Вот в чем вся пока трудность. И поэтому многие российские компании боятся.
The situation has taken its toll on business. Activity at this market has fallen by 90% since the war started. But Viktor Stepanov has another, even greater worry: nationalization. The DPR authorities have passed a law saying all these markets should become state property. They've promised compensation, but Stepanov says the whole process is illegal.
Это полностью, будем так считать, что рейдерский захват. На все рынки захваты происходят путем, приезжают вооруженные люди, забирают, выставляют администрацию за дверь и до свидания. А дальше уже люди, как говорится, бьются по судам, но бессмысленно.
Victor knows his straight talking could get him into trouble. He sent his family to live abroad. The DPR is nevertheless trying to improve its image. We're invited to the Supreme Council to sit in on a meeting of the subcommission that supervises the nationalization process. The meeting gathers various members of the separatist parliament, including some in military uniform. Andrei, the head of the press service, tells us about how this new political class is being formed and reveals another aspect of Russian assistance.
Регулярно присутствуют наши гости, наши братья-россияне, которые так или иначе дают определенные рекомендации, либо советы, либо другие формы поддержки.
And you need that?
Ну, естественно. В таких условиях, в которых мы находимся, без поддержки мы бы вряд ли бы выжили.
While we're filming, none of the more difficult questions, such as the market owner's complaints, is discussed. At the end of the session, the commission chairman is signing some documents, so we ask him about the purpose of the nationalization campaign.
Те благодетели, которые помогают нашей республике, они не резиновые. Могут деньги эти закончиться. В конце концов, мы должны сами себя запустить. Мы же не можем быть дармоедами и сидеть у кого-то на шее. Вот для этого мы создаем необходимые законы и стараемся запустить наши предприятия, чтобы создать свой бюджет и уже не зависеть ни от кого.
He talks openly about unnamed benefactors, but the DPR's finance ministry won't even go that far. It told us by email that the budget was funded entirely by local taxes and charges. To many in Donetsk it's an open secret, but at the official level the veil of secrecy remains firmly in place over Russia's alleged military, financial and political support for the DPR.
Our reporter Elena Voloshin is here in the studio. Elena, thank you so much for your report. Who is really providing the weapons for the DPR fighters then? Is it actually Russia?
Yes, obviously it is, and the official Russian version which you heard in the report is that it's trophies from Ukraine which serve the separatists to make this war.
Have us believe that, the fighters are running away, leaving their weapons, and then the DPR are taking them. That's what they'd like us to believe.
Yes, that's the official version, and indeed there have been huge battles for cities, to take over cities such as Ilovaisk or Debaltsevo, and by the way, these battles were backed by regular Russian troops, but that's not the point. When the separatists enter the cities, they indeed find a lot of artillery and weapons and equipment and bulletproof jackets, but everything is very damaged, because you can imagine how damaged it is after the Ukrainians lost the battles. Everything's burned. For instance, we know that in Donetsk there was this factory where they repaired tanks, but what they can save here is clearly not enough compared to the needs that the DPR have. Although we saw from the beginning of the conflict that the DPR fighters always had enough artillery, weapons, etc. to make this war. So obviously, yes, Russia is providing the weapons. Otherwise, it wouldn't be just physically possible for them to make the war. And anybody would tell it to you as soon as you switch off your camera, but nobody's willing to say it loud as long as Russia keeps on denying it.
We saw in your report as well, there is a propaganda war, a twisting of the truth, and a willingness to do that. Someone saying we will dress up our soldiers to look like Ukrainians. This whole propaganda issue, how big a role is that playing?
it's a big role in this conflict. And I think that if there wasn't such a huge propaganda, this war simply wouldn't happen, because at the beginning, propaganda pushed all the people of Donetsk to demonstrate against what they called Ukrainian fascists, who came to kill them because they supported Russia. That's what Russian propaganda told them. And as the war went on, the initial truth was really hard to find out, because daily these people, they see Ukrainian bombs falling on their house and killing their people. So they blame Ukraine, and they think that Russia is helping them to fight against.
So the people have wholly accepted this propaganda as truth.
Yes, because they just have no idea of how these reports are made. And I can tell that Russian state TV, which is still working in the Donbass, I saw them working, and they are using just the same methods that you saw in this report.
So this underlines the importance of this report that you have done. Can you tell us more about the influence of Russia in Donetsk? Donetsk, effectively now, it's a Russian city, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, technically, no, it's not a Russian city, because...
Technically, but realistically...
It's a city which is administrated by Russia. Economically, administratively, and politically, everything's ruled by Russia, and otherwise they wouldn't just have funds to run, because what they can collect in terms of taxes from the companies which still are working, it's clearly not enough. So all the finances come from Russia. We can't tell the amounts because it's completely secret, but you can see that, for instance, the salaries of the civil servants are now being paid, so it's a good indicator to know that they have the means to function.
Elena, thank you very much for that insight, and thank you once again for your report, which, of course, you can see again via France24.com. This is Reporters on France 24. Stay with us.